needed. Let's see. After this session, I would encourage you just to leave the meeting and then click the link again to come back for the afternoon session. And that pretty much kind of covers it up. So yeah, now Christina and I are going to talk about the marketing tools and resources. So yeah, hey, Christina.
Thank you. Okay, so for this session, Michael and I will split it in half. The first half will be more focused on the marketing tools, and then the second, Michael will focus and provide more detailed information about GoodFoodNM and how you can take advantage of it for your market, because it's a pretty valuable tool that's free to members. So I'm going to load up my little session here. Oh, wait, first I got to share it. Sharing. Okay. All right. So one of the things that we do at the end of the year is send out a survey to all the members to, ask members how you think the NMFA is doing. I know if you find the tools that we provide to be valuable, and we also ask about whether or not members are aware of different marketing tools that we provide. And every year, it always emphasizes to me that, I need to do a better job of, getting the word out to members about everything that we do provide, because even the first two that are listed here, the monthly member newsletter and the member website, NMFMA.org, those are the two that are, most members are most familiar with, so about 82% of members know that the monthly newsletter exists, the member newsletter, and 75% or something know that the member website exists, but that still leaves 25% of members who don't know that we have this member website that we covered in our previous session. But then we have this plethora of other marketing tools at our dispense that we use to get the word out to customers, which are all these ones that are kind of under this coral colored arc. That's the consumer newsletter, the Double Up Food Bucks newsletter. We have a Facebook page and the GoodFoodNM texting program, and all the way down to our Twitter account, which we do post to Twitter, but we don't have the capacity to interact with it, every 10 minutes, which is, Twitter feeds on constant interaction, and that's not something that we have the capacity to do. So it's not surprising that the Twitter account is kind of last on that list. But I just show this to and provide some insight that there's just so many tools, and outlets that we have to get the word out about local food and farming. And I encourage all of you to connect in with these yourselves, because if you connect in to these outlets, like our social media outlets and things, they provide information for you to feed into your own outreach. So that, we do this not only to increase awareness about local food and farming in the state, but to provide you with tools for your own outreach, to increase awareness about your own outlet or your own farm or your own farm stand. So last year, we had 66,000 visitors to the consumer website, farmersmarketsnm.org. And these are new and repeat website visitors. So, some of them are people who just consistently come back because they like what the website has to offer. And then there's some people who discover it anew through maybe a Facebook ad or something like that. And then you can see these other breakouts, over 20,000 people for our social media outlets, Facebook and Instagram and YouTube. Excuse me. And we have 5,500 active subscribers for a consumer newsletter. And one of the things I really like is how low the opt-out rate is for that newsletter. I think, for every 50, for every time we send out a monthly consumer newsletter, it might go out to 5,500 people, but there might be one person who unsubscribes, which is low, and that's just a testament to the quality of what we put in the newsletter and how interested people are to read it. And then we have 4,600 GoodFoodNM text subscribers, which also has a very low opt-out rate. And those low opt-out rates are something that I think are really important. Excuse me, really important. I'm so sorry. I can't even mute myself. It's really important because it shows that people are once they connect, they want to stay connected. And keep in mind that these are last year's numbers, and because of COVID, people's awareness of the fragility of a nationwide or global food distribution system is much higher than it used to be. So I'm really expecting in 2023, as things open up more, that these numbers will start to increase a lot, because people would be much more interested to find out about their local food distribution system, which is what the NMFA and all of you, our members, are all about. So Denise, I know in her State of the Plate, reviewed some of the marketing campaigns, such as the Fresh at Home cooking videos that you can find on our YouTube channel. And also, again, GoodFoodNM, which Michael will talk more about and as soon as I'm done with my deteriorating throat issue. But we do pay for ads to promote local food, seasonal eating, and also our food access programs like Double Up Food Bucks or GoodFoodNM and Fresh RX and things like that. So these are ads that we put out on a periodic basis just to emphasize that the programs exist. And it's a way to, unfortunately kind of fight the algorithm of social media that can sometimes hide content. So we do invest money to make sure that people around the state see that we have these resources to promote local food and seasonal eating and New Mexico growers. We also promote National Farmers Market Week, which occurs the first week of August every year. Before COVID, we did work to help outlets promote live events, and obviously that had to go on the wayside the past couple of years. Amazingly that we had to deal with that, but we shifted to a very visual focused celebration of local food and farming using award-winning photographs that we had taken by professional photographers several years ago. They're still relevant photos, and they're still very popular photos. They get a lot of traction in our social media. But when we create something like this, and we do put word out about this in like broadcast emails and also in the member newsletter, the monthly member newsletter, we create templates for you to be able to share the information in your own social media outlets. And so it takes as little time, a little of your time as possible. We come up with, like in this case on the far right, you can see a handout. It's just an outreach template we created for National Farmers Market Week last year. And you could cut and paste, the verbiage that we have here, match it up with whatever image you wanted. The template and the images are available for download on the member website. So we do these things to make it as easy as possible for you to promote your own outlet, and you're free to adjust, the verbiage however you would like, but we create it so you can take as less time, the least amount of your time as possible to load up your own newsletters and things like that. Now, in conjunction with National Farmers Market Week, which was the first week of August, Denise worked and has for several years now to get the entire month of August to be deemed Local Food Connects NM month by the governor. And this has been a proclamation that has happened for 4 years, Denise, I think. Honestly, I'm losing track of time. But this, we devote the entire month to celebrate local food and farming in the state of New Mexico. And we do things like create 4 ingredient recipes that we share. And again, this is something that would be available for download for members on the member website. I just pulled up this example of this apricot ice cream because it's delicious. But you can see where you could download this document, and then the bottom half you could cut up, and provide, just hand out recipes at your market. You could put them in your CSA boxes for your customers. If you're a farmer and you happen to be selling apricots, you could have them at your on your table. So these are resources that we try to provide, so you have something to give to your customers. We also provide daily some sort of food fact, agriculture fact, something that is shareable on every single day for the entire month that you could share in your social media outlets to really push, and increase awareness for local food and farming in the state. And this year, we'll be just doing something a little different. I don't really want to say what it is yet because I need to flesh it all out and make sure it all works and everything. But Local Food Connects month is something we'll do, this month and every month for the foreseeable future. But just know that there's information that we provide on a regular basis for use in social media. And an overarching campaign is just Local Food Connects campaign. We have our conference is named Local Food Connects. We have Local Food Connects month. So the Local Food Connects campaign is just an overarching campaign that we provide a lot of resources, including the 12 photos that I mentioned. And here's a sample of them. There's a template, again, available for download in our member newsletter that allows you to use the photos and also use some text that we created to encourage people to shop locally. Like keep your food real. You see the outreach template on the lower left there, where there's areas for you to, put your own outlet name, your hours of operation, the seasons that you're open. So you can customize this text and the images to suit, your own market. And you don't even have to use the photos if you don't want. You can use your own photos and the text that we provide. You can use the photos and text that you create yourself. So these are tools that are very flexible for you to use, but it takes a lot of the work out of it for you. We do the work, and then, you can adjust it to your own needs. And right before COVID hit, unfortunately, we created 3 videos that were specifically meant to attract customers who are not yet converts to local food and farming. And you can find these in our YouTube channel, but unfortunately with COVID and masks, we couldn't really push these videos that much because no one's wearing a mask, and it would just have looked weird. It would have felt odd to people. So I'm really looking forward to be able to utilize these videos a lot more. And we did a lot of research on the back end to come up with the focus of these different videos and find out which groups of people out there are not currently buying local food and they're not currently local food converts, but they probably could be. like working young professionals who aren't necessarily tied into the system yet of local food and New Mexico's farmers, value-driven shoppers who may assume that, buying from a farmer's market's too expensive, and also outdoor enthusiasts, hunters, fishermen, that kind of thing, people who would be a really good fit for local food. Now, I keep mentioning that all these things are available for download, and this is where you can find that information. It's on the member website, newmexicofma.org. And after you log in, you'll see that member menu, and then you can just click the little tools folder, and then the logos and downloads. And it's, it's not, it's like a list, and it's not the prettiest presentation. It's just a list with links. So you kind of have to go through the list and look to see which ones that, you would be interested in. And if you, have any questions, you can always contact me and I'll just send the stuff to you directly. So one of the exciting things that we have coming up for the current year is a cookbook. And that would be for, it's a project that will start in 2022 and it'll end in 2023. And don't worry, that I took a photo of a cookbook and threw it in Photoshop and made the sample on the far left, but we'll actually give it to a real graphic designer, so it'll look a lot better. So don't worry, that's not it. But it's a statewide campaign, and what we want to do is get recipes from across the state, from underrepresented communities, and we want to have the recipes that emphasize seasonal eating around the state. So 2022 will be focused on collecting those recipes, and then in 2023 we'll start putting the cookbook together and have it available for members to have. And I'm still working out the details about some of the logistics of what that would look like, but I'm really excited about this project. And I know that, one of the things I hear pretty consistently from members is they want more recipes to hand out, and to these customers ask for them. So that's one of the reasons why, we try to come up with the 4 ingredient recipes, because they're simple, and the recipes always have seasonal produce in them. So, keep an eye out on your emails, and also the member newsletter as details about this come up, because we will want to be able to have as much input in terms of customers, shoppers around the state providing recipes for the cookbook. We want it to be a collaborative project, and we're pretty excited about it. The other thing that's going to be new is, in addition to Local Food Connects Month, we want to have, National Farmers Market Week, we want to create a New Mexico CSA week for the state. And there is kind of an informal CSA week that another organization, I can't remember off the top of my head, has created, but this one's going to be New Mexico specific. And it'll be a statewide campaign that highlights New Mexico CSAs, but also just seasonal eating in general, and cooking with seasonal ingredients, which is a big stumbling block for some people who are used to, having oranges in June when they're actually, seasonally, they're not, they're more in season in winter, even though we don't grow them in New Mexico. But, people have gotten so used to having everything available in every season. New Mexico CSA Week is just one of the ways that we'll use to increase awareness of what seasonal eating is and how to do it and why it's fantastic, because the food is fresher. So again, look for more details about that in the member newsletter and in emails around sometime this summer, as we kind of flesh out exactly when the best time to have New Mexico CSA Week. But I'm very excited about that as well. Okay, so what's coming from you, or what should you be doing? You know, I've spent a lot of time talking about what we have done, some of the tools we have, some of what's new coming from us this coming year, but there's things that you can do as well. And one of the things I want to do this year is create kind of maybe a class, you know, or tutorial is probably a better way to say it, that people could take online that focuses on like social media for either your farmer's market, or your CSA, or your farm. But there's several things that you can do in your social media if that's something that you want to do. And honestly, you don't need to be on Facebook or Instagram. You know, there's one thing you should be doing, and I'll talk about that next. But you know, if you were just like, I don't want to deal with the social media stuff, I totally get it. And the good news is you don't have to. But if you do want to do it, because it is a nice way to get the word out, you know, visually about what you're offering, there are several key things to keep in mind. The first one is let people see customers buying from you. And that's true if you're a farmer's market, farm stand, or a farmer. You want to, you know, share as much, you know, you're kind of tooting your own horn, which I know is not necessarily comfortable for a lot of farmers. You know, they're not used to like being on grandstands and, you know, being in public and, you know, being face forward. But for social media, it's really important. But this includes things like getting testimonials that you share, show videos of, you know, cleaning produce or packing it, or, you know, if you have customers that post about your market or the food that you grow, share that information. So it's just a way to show customers that people are buying from you or buying what you were growing. It gets an idea in their head that maybe they should be doing the same thing. The second thing is you want to create a relationship with your community. And that could be either the community you live in, but a community can also be defined as your customer base. So the way to do that is to kind of increase your face value. And food companies do this all the time. You know, there's the Morton Salt Girl and the Quaker Oat Sky, and, you know, different examples like that. And marketing companies have known for a long time that if you know, attach a human to a food product, the trust in that product increases, even if it's a fake human. So one way to create that relationship with community is to show your face on camera, you know, show who you are, you know, or the people on your team or the people that work for you. I mean, that creates a connection that is really important when people are buying food, because people trust people more than they trust machines, you know. So, you know, don't be afraid to create that community on your social media. Another trick is to kind of come up with a bucket of topic areas, which are also called content pillars. And when you're adding content to your social media, just kind of mix up those buckets of information. So you can have, you know, information about you. You're a bucket. You could have your, you know, your favorite dog, special events. You know, you could have inspiring quotes. So just have, you know, 5 or 6 content areas that if you're struggling with ideas of what to post, you can just go and say, okay, it's time for a post about my dog, because everyone loves dog posts, you know, or it's time for me to, you know, maybe, you know, I'm feeling stuck. I think I'm just going to go and look for a quote about farming that I'll share, you know. So it's a way to help you get ideas, but it's also increases followers' interest in what you're sharing. It just mixes it up a little bit. You know, it's like, you know, your potato chips are great, but you don't necessarily want them every day. So video is very important when you're sharing on social media, but nowadays video is very temporary in a lot of ways, like on Instagram stories or TikTok, and that the video just goes away after 24 hours. So don't stress too much about it. You don't have to worry about, if things don't look perfect. Some people just don't do video because they feel intimidated by it, which is understandable, because I do as well. But because of the temporary nature of some of the social media outlets, it's okay to be just much more casual. The biggest thing, though, is that you want to add captions, which some of these social media platforms provide options that do that automatically. But a lot of people watch videos with the volume off, which a lot of people don't realize. So having the captions available makes it a lot easier for people to hear what you're talking about. And the last tip is to just keep your content more active, where the person who is visiting your social media outlet, they're doing something. That could be a poll, a quiz, a little reaction slider, whatever the case may be. It's just a way for people to literally kind of start to engage with you, even though they're not right in front of you. So if you're into social media, those are just 5 kind of high-level tips on how to increase the success of your social media outreach. And I'm hoping this year to create more detailed kind of course or tutorial on social media. But the number one thing everyone should be doing is having email. If you want to, if you're picking between social media and email, definitely pick the email. And the reason for that is that social media is tough. The algorithms that a lot of the social media platforms use are mysterious at best, and they don't get much engagement. But email is better, and it doesn't have to be, a monthly newsletter. It doesn't have to be lengthy. It doesn't have to have, a lot of fancy pictures or anything. It just has to be regular, clear communication. Because of the algorithm, only like 5 to 6% of your followers will really see what you're posting, unless you post on a very regular basis, which can be daunting for people. So it's, that's why I say, it's not critical to have a Facebook page or an Instagram page. If you're not posting on it several times a day, you're not getting the bang for your buck anyway. But email is 47%, which is significantly better. So an email it's a direct communication between you and that individual person. Email is fun if you're trying to send a message out into your customer base. Whether it's the opening of your market, a new crop that just came into harvest, emails would get seen 5 times more than that same post in Facebook. And different, I'm kind of a geek when it comes to numbers. So some of the reading I've done has shown that 66% of customers have engaged more or purchased more, and that includes local food, when they see it in email marketing versus social media. And 72% of people prefer to receive promotional content via email, and that includes information about what your farm is selling, what your CSA is about, where your farmers market is located. And 72% is a large number. So this year, I encourage you to start thinking more about connecting more directly with your customers by starting to collect email addresses. And that's something that I can write a post about a little more detail later in the season. But a lot of times it's just as simple as putting out a clipboard at your information table, because people will sign up. I mean, you can just say, would you like to sign up to be in my email? And they'll say, sure. And they'll just give you their email addresses, and then word gets out, so it's very powerful. I encourage you all to start thinking about email more than social media. And with that, I'm going to let Michael take over and talk about another really powerful tool that you can use to reach customers that is almost no work for you, except keeping your information updated on the member website, which is the GoodFoodNM texting program, which is a free service to our member farmers markets, farm stands, and CSAs.
Thank you, Christina. I think that was a perfect segue, talking about how powerful email is, to then kind of talk about how powerful text messaging is. This GoodFoodNM was set up because it's 97% of people who receive a text message read it. So email, I think Christina said 47% of people see the email. With text messaging, it's almost going to be 100% of the people who receive a text message are going to read it. So text messaging is almost imperative to get more customers and more repeat customers. As you can see on the screen right now, there's a document on the left-hand side. This is something that went out in the email yesterday. It was one of the handouts for GoodFoodNM that went out in the message yesterday. So that way you can refer back to it. My contact information is on there. So that way you can follow up with me afterwards if you have any questions. So yeah, definitely take a look at your emails for that.
Sorry.
It's all good. I'll go ahead and share my screen now anyways. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So yeah, I put together a presentation to kind of tell you a little bit more about GoodFoodNM and what to expect from it. So let me go ahead and get that shared. All right, so I'm going to be telling you all about GoodFoodNM. I'm going to tell you what GoodFoodNM is. I'm going to tell you how it works. I'm going to tell you what we do, or mostly what I do from the NMFMA side. And then I'm going to tell you what you can do in order to increase your subscribers. So that's kind of what the next 20 minutes or so looks like. So GoodFoodNM is a health communications program to promote locally grown food, encourage healthy eating habits, and provide farmers markets, farm stands, and CSA reminders. So kind of sums it up in a quick sentence. One thing that I want to mention right away is 32 markets are already reaching their customers on a daily or on a weekly basis. Are you reaching your customers on a daily basis or on a weekly basis? All right, so I'm going to kind of get into the meat of things now. How do people sign up for GoodFoodNM? It's super, super simple. All that subscribers have to do to sign up is to opt in by texting the word teach or durazno to 21333. So all you do is, it's as simple as that. You go into your phone, you hit send a message. For the phone number, you type 21333. And for the body of that message, you type the word teach, or if you want English, or durazno if you want Spanish. So as soon as you send peach to 21333, you get an automatic message that says, please respond with your preferred farmers market, farm stand, or CSA, so you can receive weekly reminders. So yeah, it automatically prompts anybody who sends peach or durazno to 21333 to respond with their preferred farmers market, farm stand, or CSA. As soon as they respond with their preferred farmers market, farm stand, or CSA, they automatically get put in that bucket to receive reminders from their specific outlet, from that specific outlet. So it's super simple. And that's all it takes in order for them to get registered for GoodFoodNM updates and reminders for that specific CSA, farmers market, or farm stand. So subscribers can choose between English or Spanish depending on the opt-in path that they use. So again, peach is for English, durazno is for Spanish. So all of the content that they will receive after that will be in their preferred language. The subscribers are going to receive 1 to 2 messages per week. During the market season, they're going to receive a weekly reminder. So typically, the way we schedule these is if your farmer's market is on Saturday from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m., what we do is we'll send out the message the night before. So we'll send it on Friday evening and say, hey, don't forget to stop by the downtown growers market tomorrow. It's open, it's at Robson Park from 8 to 12, or whatever the case may be. So they'll get a very specific reminder message, typically the day before the market. If it's an afternoon market, so if they meet from, I don't know, 4 to 7 p.m., we'll typically send that one out in the morning, that specific day. So it'll say, hey, don't forget to stop by this afternoon to check out the growers market. If your market has 2 days a week, so I know some of them are on like Wednesdays and Saturdays or so forth, we usually send it out on Tuesday and say, hey, don't forget to stop by tomorrow for this one, and also again on Saturday for this one. So we do kind of create that messaging to be very specific to the markets and their customers. That is also why it's super important that you keep your hours and location updated in our membership database, because that is where I pull the information to create these text messages. So as I mentioned, they'll receive 1 to 2 messages per week. One is going to be a reminder, and the second one is going to be something about a recipe, maybe a family health idea, food access information, double up food bucks, nutrition information, or so forth. So I just try to create it, keep it interesting, kind of make sure that it's something that's engaging to our subscribers to hope that they don't opt out. But yeah, so, and also if I send nutrition information or recipes or anything that revolves around local food, I make sure that it's currently in season. So I'm not going to be sending something out of season. So that way, if they do go to the farmer's market, they might be able to find that information or find that product, excuse me. One of the things about GoodFoodNM is the subscribers can opt out at any time. It is fully up to them to opt in and to opt out. There's legally, we can't do a whole lot about any of that. We can't subscribe them ourselves. We can opt them out ourselves if we needed to. But so they can opt out at any time. So they're under full control of what messages they want to receive. And then again, I'm the one who sits down and actually writes the content for these messages. All right, so as I mentioned earlier, GoodFoodNM is a free service to our farm stands, CSAs, and farmers markets, but we also do partner with other agencies around the state and other organizations. So on the screen, you can see Roadrunner Food Bank, Cooking with Kids, Building Healthy Military Communities, New Mexico Department of Health, and Santa Fe Public Schools. These are some organizations that we do work with. Typically, we're working on promoting nutrition, so that way people are making healthy decisions for a better lifestyle. We also promote a lot of our food access programs. So we want to make sure that people understand the importance of fresh local food. So one of the great things about these partners is we're also encouraging them to go to the farmers markets. So as I mentioned, they're going to be receiving a message once a week that's typically some type of nutrition information about an in-season fruit or vegetable. And then a lot of other times we'll send a message following up saying, hey, do you know where the nearest farmers market is? Check out our market locator. And we'll encourage them to go to our market locator to find their nearest farmers market. So this is a way that we use partners around the state, or that we work with partners around the state to promote healthy eating and also encourage people to buy locally grown fresh produce, whether it's at some of the supermarkets that we work with, or farm stands, CSAs, or farmers markets. So on the screen right here are some sample text messages that we send. One of the nice things with our text messaging is we can include links. So if we want to include a link to a recipe, so maybe, this past week, I'll tell you exactly what I did last week for GoodFoodNM. I sent out one message to all of our partners that was something about beets. Beets are currently in season. So I said, hey, did you know beets are full of fiber and will keep you fuller longer? Make sure that you try some locally grown beets. So that was one message that I sent. And then the second message that week that I sent is, hey, here's a delicious recipe for beet brownies. Check it out. And then I was able to link to a recipe on the NMFMA consumer website. That way they got some nutrition information about, hey, this is why beets are good for you. And then I paired that with something that says, hey, here's a recipe where you can actually do that. So I am usually pretty thoughtful with the decisions that I make in regards to the messages that go out to make sure that they're relevant and they kind of work together. So some other examples of sample text messages that we can send are something like shopping at farmers markets is different from shopping at the grocery stores. Find tips and tricks to make the most of your experience. Include a link to it. You can make an entire salad with veggies that are in season right now: spinach, lettuce, carrots, sugar snap peas, cucumbers, and more. And then that one I link over to our seasonal, our what's in season calendar on our website. So they can click that and see all of that. And then another one is an example of a market reminder that we would send out. So stop by the downtown growers market tomorrow from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. to get some delicious locally grown fruits and vegetables. And then I can include links that way. So these are the types of information that I do send out on a weekly basis. We also do have the ability to send out MMS messages. So these are picture messages. This is a sample of one that was actually made for Farmers Market Week or Local Food next month. So these are pretty cool because they're very visually appealing and they kind of get people's attention. One thing with MMS messages is not everybody has a smartphone. I mean, kind of think that everybody does, but not everybody does. So it might not necessarily go through for them. Those are kind of some examples of some text messages that we send, and it's kind of fun to kind of craft them and build them based on what's in season and what people want. All right, so what I do for you, I create the outreach reminder text based on your member information that's included or that you update on the member website, and then I translate that information into Spanish. I make sure that all of the information in the texting platform is up to date, make sure that the customers are going to be able to receive those reminder messages and make sure they're scheduled on the proper days. So I do that. The New Mexico Farmers Marketing Association also provides outreach materials like postcards, banners, and digital images. So we do help you get the tools you need in order to fully promote the program. We also create the additional text to promote seasonal eating, fresh food programs such as Double Up Food Bucks. So that's the second message that usually goes out per week. And then finally, we send the text messages to your subscribers. So we basically do all of the back end stuff to help give you the strong platform that you need in order to get people signed up. So how to get subscribers. This is what's super important. I can do all of the back end work, but I can't actually get, well, I guess I could, but you're at the market every week. You're able to talk to all of your customers that come in. You're able to talk to all of your vendors. So really, ultimately, it's up to our farm stands, CSAs, and farmers markets to actually get people signed up for their program. So in 2020, at the annual conference, markets received postcards. These postcards, I have some pictures of them here in a little bit, I'll show you. But we encourage you to put these at your info table, put them in all of the food boxes that you send out, give them to your vendors so the vendors can talk about them and hand them out. It's just important that these are wonderful marketing tools in order to get people signed up. There's a marketing rule of 7 where people need to see an advertisement 7 times before they act on it. So by being able to see the banner when you walk in, by getting having a volunteer talking to your customers about GoodFoodNM, by being able to see one of these postcards and doing that on a weekly basis, you're ultimately going to encourage people to sign up for it. I would definitely encourage you to ensure that your vendors are familiar with GoodFoodNM and its benefits. Have them subscribe and have them help you subscribe people. Really, whenever you're doing the transaction between the farmer or the vendor and the consumer, it's a perfect opportunity for them to say, hey, are you receiving these GoodFoodNM text messages? It's a great way to keep in contact with our market and what's going on. So yeah, ensure your vendors are familiar with it. Yeah, encourage the vendors to hand out GoodFoodNM postcards to customers. The vendors probably talk to more people than the info table. So we would encourage you to have them do that. We encourage you to promote the program on social media and newsletters using some of the digital outreach pieces that we provided. And then finally, one other thing is most of the markets received banners in 2021 that promote Good Food NM. Definitely make sure that's visible. These banners are done in English and in Spanish with all of the information on how to subscribe. Definitely hang those up. If you need postcards or digital images, contact me. My contact information will be on the very last slide. It was also in the flyer that you received yesterday afternoon. It's on the website. You're going to be able to find my contact information places, and I can get you copies of those postcards and digital images. Right here are the examples of the digital images that we have created. These are very colorful, very visually appealing. They're very striking, and they definitely capture the attention of the customers. This lets them know, get farm stand reminders and fresh food tips. Text Peach to 21333. This gives them basically all the information they need to know about how to register and what it consists of. So these digital squares we have created, and I can get them to you if you need some of them. So make sure that you contact me. But it is a great way to put them on your social media, in your newsletters, in your emails. Really, any digital platform. This is an amazing tool to do that. Let's see. Oh, if your market or farm stand or CSA has a website, this is also a great thing to put on there. So don't forget to do that. And also, not only are the postcards great to share with your vendors, share these digital images with your vendors too. Have them help you promote the program. Right here are the postcards that we created to promote Good Food NM. So on the left side is in English, on the right side is in Spanish. It says, get farmers markets reminders and fresh food tips. Text Peach to 21333. Gives you some kind of exciting little bullets about this. Definitely, like I said, with some of the postcards that you get, give them to your vendors and have them help distribute them. Make sure that you have these at your info booth. So whenever maybe people are coming in for Fresh RX or Double at Food Bucks, you can kind of talk to them during that process as well, and you can share this information with them. Maybe if you have a volunteer that's walking around, have them handing them out. Maybe even kind of the old-fashioned way of putting them on the different cars that are in the parking lot. That's a great way too to distribute these. There are a lot of fun and exciting ways that you can distribute these, but most importantly, that the customers hear about this program. Because if you're not talking to the customers about the program, they're not hearing about it, which ultimately won't be helping you out. Yeah. So there's some great creative outreach ideas that are out there. You can see on the left-hand side, this was actually done by the Corrales Growers Market. This was also in the previous presentation. They put their Good Food NM digital square in the newspaper. They put get farmers markets and get farmers market reminders and local food tips. Corrales Growers Market opens April 25th from 9 a.m. to noon. Text Peach to 21333. Actually, I'll go into the statistics here in a little bit, but Corrales has the most amount of subscribers. And I think a lot of it has to do with their wonderful outreach that they've done. I would encourage you to use promotional funds to place ads in local papers, to mention it in radio ads, to do any of that sort. Definitely hang postcards on local bulletin boards, leave postcards at health clinics, run a campaign for new subscribers. We can kind of talk about that if we want to. And yeah, place postcards on cars in the parking lot. But there's a lot of ways that you can distribute the text messages and the digital squares to reach your customers. Here's a little map, a little graph of Good Food NM subscribers. There are currently 412 total subscribers under the keyword peach and durazno. Overall, Good Food NM has about 4,600 subscribers, but those are kind of spread out through our different partners like the New Mexico Department of Health, Red Runner Food Bank, and so forth. But within Good Food NM, there are 412. If you look at this graph, you can see that in 2020, there was a huge jump at the beginning of the market season. Then it kind of fizzled out, and then there was a little bit of a jump in the market season for 2021. So there was a lot of momentum and energy behind this in 2020, but we kind of fizzled that out. So we would definitely like to see more subscribers here in the 2022 market season. In 2021, there were 85 new Good Food NM subscribers. That's not very many. It should be a lot more than that. But again, there's only so much that I can do from my desk at the NMFMA. So I need your help in order to get this done. The top 5 markets with subscribers for GoodFoodNM reminders are Corrales, Downtown Growers Market, Los Ranchos, Farmington, and Aztec. So if your name is not on that list, let's get you on that list next year. As far as text messages go that we sent to a GoodFoodNM subscribers who specifically opted in for market reminders, they were sent 69 messages last year. 47 of them were general food insecurity stuff or food access programs, nutrition information, recipes, so forth. And then about an average of 22 market reminders went out. So these pretty much went out once a week during the entire market season. So that's kind of what the breakdown of text messages look like for them. So you're probably wondering, does Good Food New Mexico actually work? The answer is yes. One of the great tools that we have within the market, within the text messaging platform, is we can do kind of some of these surveys. So at the end of the market season, I sent out this message that you see on the screen. Did you visit a farmer's market this season because of a reminder from GoodFoodNM? Then they respond with A or B or yes or no, and then it'll tally that information. 86% of the 412 subscribers said that yes, they did respond, or they did visit a farmer's market because of a reminder from GoodFoodNM. I know that I'm completely, like I said before, I received text messages and I've attended markets because I was like, oh yeah, I forgot that was tomorrow. So 86% of respondents said that they do visit a farmer's market because of one of these reminders. So just think, if you had more and more customers signed up for this program, you would have a lot more repeat customers, and you kind of work on building that community a little bit stronger. So yes, GoodFoodNM weekly reminders definitely work. All right, so now that kind of sums up my presentation for this morning. I'm open for any questions that you might have regarding GoodFoodNM. Let's see, feel free to raise your hand or drop in any questions. See, I see something in the chat.
I will just, a lot of people are asking like specifically how many subscribers they have, and I would encourage all those people to contact Michael directly through like email at michael@farmersmarketsnm.org, and then he can look that information up for you.
Yeah, and the one other thing I would like to throw in there is that, and I'm sorry if I missed it, if you said this, Michael, but the open rate of text messages can be as high as 98%. It's really high. So there's just, it's just such a great way to reach people. And you all should sign up for Peach or Duranzo now, because then you could test it. You could see how easy it is. You'll start to get the messages and you'll be like, oh, that's a great message. I get it. I'll promote it. So I encourage you all to sign up right now.
And it is also important that another reason to keep your market information up to date and correct is then what gets texted out is correct. If your market information is not correct on the member website, then what gets texted out won't be correct either. So you gotta make sure that that is done.
All right, Kelly, I see you have a raised hand.
Yes, I want to thank you for putting together the text messages and doing this for us, because that is a very valuable tool. We have a lot of people that I've talked to that work around the area, and I've told them what I'm doing, and they act like they are just so surprised that we even have a farmer's market, even though we've been doing this for years. But this is only my second year. I missed all of the training last year because it was kind of a last minute thing that I got put into this role. But I want to promote this as much as possible. So I'll have to see what postcards and stuff that we have at our Main Street office. So I may be contacting you to get more of that, but anyways, I just want to thank you for doing that. And I can't wait to see how many people we have subscribed, because I really did not promote this last year because I didn't really understand what it was. So I appreciate the information.
Nice, cool. Yeah, definitely. And feel free to reach out. And yeah, once you check to see if you have any postcards, if you can't find them or anything, let me know and we can get you some. I can also send you those digital squares also, so you can promote it that way too. Let's see.
Are there any
Scroll.
more questions?
There was a question about banners from Pauline. Are banners still available? Do we have more banners, Michael?
I have one. It was yeah, so there, I think there's only one left.
Okay, well, Pauline, we can send that to you and we can get some more made if there's a need for more banners.
Yeah, Pauline, just go ahead and reach out to me and I can help you with that.
Okay, unless there's any more questions either about GoodFoodNM or just marketing in general, I think we'll, Chris.
Yeah, the materials that you guys all provide, the logos and the graphics and everything are, I assume we're allowed to use that for print as well and not just digital?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes, and if you need a different file size for something for print purposes, just email me and let me know, and we'll take care of that for you.
Okay, and is any direct mail being done? I saw a lot of digital stuff, but direct mail has like a 10 to 35 times response rate compared to direct email. And that's especially with older people, that's they look at like 90-something% of their mail. So I didn't know if that's something that people are looking at, because it's really cheap. Like when I go to USPS and if I want to do a direct mail campaign, it's like 2 cents for every house on a certain route. You actually pick the mail route and you just drop the materials off and pay the post office. So
Yeah, we have. Yeah, go ahead, Denise.
Yep, I've got a sample right here. We do some direct mail for the Double Up Food Bucks campaign, but it is not at all cheap when you're mailing hundreds of thousands. So we spent, I think, probably $60,000 one year, and we brought it down a little bit the next year, and we're going to bring it in. It is, direct mail is really terrific for sure, for lots of reasons.
Yeah, I would think if people, I mean, because I would say even as a farm stand, you know, if you were just going to target the zip codes around stands and CSAs and markets, then, you know, I'm pretty sure some of the markets and farmers and whatnot would split that cost with you, because they would benefit from that.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that, Chris. We could have a separate conversation if you like, but we are planning to do a direct mail campaign again for Double Up Food Bucks, and that will focus in the rural areas. So if you want to talk to me about that separately, by all means, give me a buzz.
Okay, thank you all for joining us for this 2 hours focused on marketing and getting the word out and GoodFoodNM. And I hope, when's the next session start, Michael?
Oh yeah, I can kind of go over that rundown. So we'll have the break from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. and then from 12 to 12:30, Sophia Rose, the NMFMA Farmer Programs Coordinator, and Michael Venticinque, the NMFMA Value Chain Coordinator, will discuss the state's Farm to Institution program and how farmers can become approved suppliers. Then from 12:30 to 2, Sarah Silva will be back, and she will provide clear outline of the next steps, the next conversations, and what you need to support you through the role back home for the DEI presentation that she did. And then Denise will kind of sign us off for the end of the conference. So yeah, that concludes this morning's presentation. Come back at 12 to hear from New Mexico Grown. You guys enjoy your lunch. See you soon.
Bye.